Hey, what's up, everybody? TJ BHC Lead P here. I'm a pastor in Wyoming, and I make videos about Bibles, the Bible, and tools and resources to help you grow in your everyday walk with Christ. And today, I figure it's time, being that it is officially February 6th, that I tell you guys the decision that I made. In a video up here, we talked about what Bible system am I going to use this year in 2024. The decision has been made. We're ready to go. We're actually in the system currently. So let's talk about it. Let's jump into the video. So in that video, one of the things that I said is I was really having a hard time deciding between, this system right here, which is a system that I used in 2023. It is at the end of 2023 specifically, it is the Christian Standard Bible, both of them. I like to study from and preach from the same translation. So the CSB handcrafted collection, verse by verse, wide margin layout. So this one, I know, blank page here in Malachi. Talk about that here in a minute. So boom, verse by verse, wide margin for my daily reading and studying. And then the Schuyler Quintel for my preaching. So this is a double column paragraph layout, beautiful, no wide margins, but the paper is bright. I really do enjoy this Bible. And so it was between these two and the CSB Pastor's Bible, which is a single column paragraph format. Now, in poetry, the margins are really, really wide, like they're in Psalms. But then if we get to like the Gospels, where I am currently reading through for the year, see, there's a little bit of margin space, but not a ton. So there's that. But it's single column paragraph format, which is amazing. The layout is a really good layout. And then the other one, so this one would have been my daily one, the CSB Pastor's Bible. And then my preaching Bible would have been this CSB personal size and saddle genuine leather. It's the same layout. It is the single column paragraph format. Again, inside of the poetry setting, there is quite a bit of margin space. And then again, once we get into like, I'm just specifically using the Gospels because I'm spending a lot of time there this year. You can see there's like no margin space at all. So, but beautiful, beautiful layouts. I really do like the single column layout. Now, the problem is when I'm doing my personal study for preaching, this Bible is great. This layout is great. For note taking, one of the concerns I had was that in the CSB Pastor's Bible that the margins would not be wide enough. So, drum roll, please. The system that we decided on is sticking with Old Faithful from 2023. We're going to go with the CSB verse by verse layout for my everyday study. Now, the reason is specifically the wide margins. So as you can tell just from this portion of Matthew, I love the wide margins. I like note taking in the wide margins. I have since the page that we just showed, since this one kind of changed up a little bit of my note taking and how I do it. Now we'll talk about that as far as colors go here in the future in 2024, just to try to help you with your note taking system. But I've changed it up a little bit, but I love utilizing the wide margins to note take, to put my thoughts down on. Currently, I'm in the book of Mark, working through the book of Mark. We finished up Matthew, so here's from my chapter today. We did chapter 13, and some days we do one, some days we do two, but oh my goodness, I tell you what, I love the wide margin format. And then the Quintel, as far as a preaching layout, is incredible. So our church currently is going through the book of Matthew. So here we are in Matthew going through. I highlight and underline similarly inside of my preaching Bible as I do in my note-taking Bible. The only difference is the margins aren't filled with notes. So I went with these two. There's a couple reasons. Wide margin for one. the wide margin is just something that I think for my personal how I study the Bible is needed. If I don't have wide margins, the notes get really cramped. I love to note take in my Bible. Again, in my preaching Bibles, I don't because ADHD squirrel moments happen. But inside of my personal study, I love putting notes inside of the margins. And so if I don't have those wide margins, it makes everything jumbled. I love the large print thin line text blocks, but I am unable to use them because the margins are just too small. I really did try last year to try to narrow down. These are two somewhat thick Bibles, so carrying them both all the time can be difficult. And so that's why for the study Bible, why I went through that one. Controller almost fell down. Talk about my office setup this year too. But for the verse by verse, that's why is specifically the wide margins. And then the reason for preaching out of the Quintel, the font is so incredibly readable from a distance. I preach off of a pub table or like a bistro table. And so having this flat there, reading from that at a distance, it is so clear. The way that the text here, the boldness of the text with the whiteness of the paper just really sticks out. It's just a beautiful thing to use. Now, I will say this. When I go to funerals, I'm not, or even weddings per se, I'm not going to take a bright red Bible with me. Now, if I know the family, different. But I do a lot of funerals where I don't. So when I do those, I have made one caveat. I do take the saddle brown, the saddle genuine leather with me if I'm going to do a funeral. Like what is highlighted in here currently is a funeral that I did recently. That sticky tabs are there, and it's just because this is kind of a sleek Bible. It's not super intimidating. Where this is kind of the fire brick red, I think is beautiful and I love it. But for a funeral, I want to be a little more somber. And I don't know. It's just something I do. Maybe I probably overthink that, but it's what I do. Now, I will take this if I know the people, but sometimes I don't. So I want it to be all about the family. So I try to tone it down a little bit. But anyways, honestly, your Bible color and stuff shouldn't matter. I know that comment's coming, but for me, I want to be as thoughtful to the families as I can. So that's it for this year for my Bible system. Schuyler Quintel to preach out of, and then the CSB verse by verse wide margin for my personal study. And I'll tell you what, I am loving both of these Bibles even more this year than I did last year. I spent more time in the Quintel this year, and I'm really enjoying it. I also love the floppiness of it. I love the feel. I know some of you are going to hate this, but I love folding my Bible, so this is a great way to do that. That's the other thing when I'm reading, like on the couch. This text block specifically, and this Bible with this binding is just so great to fold it. I know people don't like that, but I love it. So that's my Bible system for this year. So let me know, what are you using? Are you using one Bible? I know there's a lot of people that love to use one Bible. I really would like to do that, but it's hard for me because of those squirrel moments inside of my notes if I'm preaching from the same Bible that I'm taking the notes in. So are you using one? Are you using two? And how do you make them work together? If you are using more than one, how does that work together? Now, again, I do use study Bibles and resource Bibles, but these are the ones I use every day. I hope that you have a great day. Remember, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. It is the only name by which man must be saved. And I will see you in the next one.